a couple discovered a mysterious, jelly-like creature on a mountain. Out of curiosity, they poked it with a stick, only to have it open its mouth. What the fuck? Xiaomei was instantly terrified. Her boyfriend, Grant, collapsed to the ground in agony, venomous insects visibly burrowing into his brain. A few seconds later, he stood up. But Xiaomei couldn't respond to her calls. His eyes were vacant, he was like a walking corpse, and his appetite had become incredibly peculiar. He only ate fresh, bloody meat. His sleeping habits had also changed. He now nested in leaves like a wild animal. Most importantly, his body had become tens of thousands of times stronger. The next day, Xiaomei was a completely different person, her mind filled with thoughts of her husband. Her colleagues were puzzled. She was usually quiet and reserved, so why was she so wide-eyed today? Meanwhile, Grant was at the supermarket, his increased strength meaning he needed to replenish his protein reserves. The clerk, seeing him buy so much meat, assumed he was having a party. To cover up the truth, Grant lied and then furtively hauled hundreds of pounds of beef home. When Xiaomei returned home, she discovered something strange. Her husband had suddenly locked the storage room. Grant had no choice but to continue lying, saying he had a surprise for her. Xiaomei happily went to take a shower, but Grant, upon seeing his wife, became increasingly aroused, seemingly wanting to devour her immediately. To avoid making a mistake, he quickly scrambled outside. Just then, a dog appeared nearby, and Grant swallowed it whole without hesitation. After eating, he felt an unbearable itch all over his body. He lifted his clothes and saw his skin covered in red spots. He then began to tremble violently, feeling as if his body no longer belonged to him. It turned out that the worms inside him had begun to grow, and his craving for human flesh had become uncontrollable. However, Grant didn't want to harm his wife, so in the middle of the night, he went to find Suehua next door, whose husband was away on a business trip. Grant was overjoyed, thinking his midnight snack was finally secured. Suehua, unaware of the impending doom, kindly brought food for the man. But the next second, Grant ripped open his clothes, revealing terrifying tentacles. After Grant returned home, his body began to mutate. His wife was terrified, thinking her husband had contracted some strange disease, and in a fit of anger, kicked him out of the house. Deprived of income, Grant was forced to scavenge for scraps of meat and hid in an abandoned cabin on the mountain, where he also imprisoned the newly mutated Suehua, living a life worse than that of a beast in a dimly lit room. One day, Xiaomei accidentally discovered that many of her pet dogs had mysteriously disappeared. Mustering her courage, she pried open the storage room door, only to find it filled with dog carcasses. Terrified, Xiaomei rushed back to the living room to call the police, only to find Grant already there. Seeing his wife about to call the police on him, he instantly turned red with rage. He had long wanted to eat his wife, and now he finally had an excuse. He tore open her clothes and began releasing the tentacles within her body. Terrified, Xiaomei swung a stool at him, but as she tried to pick up the phone, he tackled her, his incredibly strong arms tightly wrapped around her neck. At the critical moment, the police suddenly burst in. Stop! Seeing things were going badly, Grant quickly ran away, dragging his 3-meter-long arms. Back on the mountain, he targeted the cow again, knocking it down with a poison needle, then wrapped his tentacles around its neck, before swaggering home with his meal. The police witnessed the whole thing but dared not fire. Just then, Xiaomei suddenly got up to check, wanting to follow him and see what he was up to. Just like I swore I would. For better or worse, this sacred bond. Right, baby? Grant, believing his wife still loved him, almost cried with emotion. Little did he know, the police had already surrounded them. Once again deceived, Grant instantly gritted his teeth in anger, roared, and flung out 2 tentacles. The police immediately pointed their guns at his head. Now you can make this peaceful or you can make it hard. Before the police could even fire, he was sliced in 2. Seeing this, the others also began firing wildly. Unexpectedly, Grant moved incredibly fast, even bullets couldn't catch him, and he managed to escape right under the noses of over a dozen police officers. However, the sheriff wasn't going to let the monster get away. He ordered a manhunt of the entire mountain overnight, only to find Grant lying in a stinking ditch. The officers immediately gave chase, following the slime until they successfully found the monster's lair. As soon as they reached the entrance, they were hit by an unbearable stench. They couldn't believe someone had lived there for years. As the police approached the gate, they heard a woman crying. He deduced that the recently missing Suehua was definitely locked inside, but no one dared to go in. They had to play rock paper scissors to choose a brave warrior. Ultimately, unlucky Bill lost the game and, risking being eaten by the monster, rushed to the front. What he saw inside horrified them.